Now you will never get her back. I am much older than you. Older than your first work of art. I will find a new face to wear. Someone else to dream me free.
It's not a lake. It's an ocean.
Wow. So just like that, we get the credits. Now, I knew we were close to the end of the game, but wow, that was... You know, I was kind of hoping for a little bit more of like, sort of like, final boss ending to sort of like the way Dead Space 2 ended, if anyone could play that. I know that game came out long after this game, so it's kind of like more like comparing Dead Space 2 to this game, but I was kind of hoping, like, it seemed to be set up like that, and I was hoping for, you know, the kind of setup for, like, we go into some alternate reality, have to fight what was her name, Jagger, and we have to like use the clicker to like weaken her. But I like the way they did it. It was very cinematic. It was awesome. This whole game was great. Like, really, my only regret about playing this entire game was the fact that I started playing it, like, you know, 7 months ago, and then only got back to it recently. But better late than never, right? That's kind of my philosophy, actually. But wow, I am actually surprised. I mean, it was a good long game, undoubtedly, and I really do. I really enjoyed it. I sort of wish at certain points, I mean, near the end there, when we were going to Cauldron Lake, it was kind of a little bit more free open. But for the most part, it was good. I just think the game would have been a little bit better, more free open, but not like free roam, but more like you can go a couple places, like you can backtrack without having to change chapters. But I guess that kind of would have broken the story a little bit. And yeah, this game was great. I mean, obviously it was meant to be played as a horror game, and they did a good job. They did a good job executing it. There were only 3 or 4 spots that really scared me, but other things this game did, like anything this game lacked, it made it forward in like everything else. Like the sarcasm, the witty sarcasm is one of my favorite kind of sarcasms. Next to yeah, like pretty much witty humor and witty sarcasm are 2 of my favorite things. And Alan was just all witty sarcasm, and Barry was a good amount of humor, and there was a lot of like funny instances in this game, and they just executed it properly, and that's sometimes the real trick. Like you can have the greatest like setup or idea, but if you don't execute it properly, then game testing, man, that would be the job. for a while there, I thought that would be one of the best jobs ever. Like, I really wanted to get into game testing because, well, obviously, that's great. I think there's a lot of, like, technical stuff to it, too. Like, you gotta make sure you're getting the game right, but, wow, only a few people make this game, that's it? Oh, I was gonna say, okay. I was gonna say, for a game like this, you think it'd take quite a few more people. I haven't heard Remedy Studios for any other games, but I'm sure they've made a few others. But yeah, this was a great game. I really enjoyed it. Like, well, speaking of art, I was gonna say the whole art direction of this game, the way everything looked great. Everything looked beautiful. The atmosphere was perfect. That was another thing. They did a good job executing the way it looked with the way it sounded for a good atmosphere, and that's very important. And well, when I begun this game, I kind of compared it to a game called Deadly Premonition, which probably not a lot of other people played, but I had just beaten recently before this game. And this game was great. Did I mention that already? I may have mentioned that. But no, really, I mean, this was a better game than I expected to be. Coming in, I had high hopes, I really did, but I didn't know what to expect exactly. I had not watched anything, not read up anything, because I think more than any other game type genre that you can play out there, this doesn't exactly fall into horror, but horror, thriller, that kind of genre is the best kind of game to play blind. Because when you know something's coming in games like these, even games that can mix it up a little bit, you're already expecting it. But a game like this, it was really fun to play along with, not just in the gameplay, like, something jumps out of a bush and I'm like, oh shit, my heart stops for a second. Those are some, like, kind of my favorite moments in video games, especially. Movies too, but video games even more, because it's kind of like you're there, you're part of it. But it also gives the same kind of thing with the story. The first time, like, you almost can never recreate your real reaction the first time. Like, there's a huge plot twist and a main character dies and something, you just kind of, you're like, no, or something epic happens and you're like, that was awesome. And I just had that feeling in this game, and I don't think I've played a game blind in, well, I mean, the first time you play a game, it's always blind, usually. But I haven't played a game like this for the first time that was this good in quite a while. I'll say, with this kind of story-driven, I'll say, I'm not even sure. I know, like I said before, Deadly Premonition was sort of the only other sort of game I played like this recently, but it was sort of like around that. And I don't like to compare the two because they're different. They're different games. It's always unfair to compare two games of the same type together because they're still different. And this game did everything so correctly. Like I said, story really good. The characters, which is a big part of the story, especially for a book-driven story like this, kind of the way it was played. The characters were very likable. I liked all the characters. I thought they all had a place and a good role to play. Obviously, especially the two main ones. Barry was great comical relief. The typical, funny comical relief guy. You need that guy in there, and I love that kind of guy. But even more, I related to more like Alan, the main character, which I usually don't like as much. I either love the main characters or I'm just kind of like, he's just the main character. It's just like, whatever. But I really liked Alan. He had that like sarcastic, witty humor, and that's my favorite. That's my kind of humor that I try to go for. And through that, I really liked him. So he's kind of become actually one of my like main favorite characters, which is a really good feeling. Like I said, the gameplay was it was really story driven, which made it play good. Even though there were times where you had a few puzzles to do. The action sequences, they were awesome. The puzzles were good. There were moments where you were like, crap, I gotta run for it. There were other moments where you had to stop and think about stuff. And a game that can put those two things together in the same game, that's pretty impressive. Not a whole lot of games can actually pull that off successfully. I thought the darkness was a great villain. Even though it's kind of like an entity, that's kind of the thing about this, that they were, trying to drive home the point that it's not a person, it's not, Bowser in a Mario game where it's like it's an actual person. This was, like something you can't touch, something that's not really there. It's like a thing, it's an entity. It doesn't have, an emotion, it doesn't have a mind driven, it's just the darkness, it just consumes. So I thought that was pretty cool. I know they had like, her, the Lady Jagger, which wasn't really explained too well, but she was like kind of the head of it, but it spoke through her, you know what I mean? It was more of a thing. And I thought that was really cool. The whole premise of the game, I wasn't sure in the beginning, what to think of it, and to give my thoughts too early, but I really liked it. It was pretty original to me. I haven't, like I said, I don't do a lot of reading. I haven't played a ton of games, but I haven't played anything that kind of worked out like this. I've heard kind of, probably seen a movie where like, in a certain space, like, you draw a picture and the picture comes to life kind of thing. But this was cool, the whole writing thing, the artist. I thought it was driven very well. It was played very good. And like I said during the playthrough, the only other game I can think of that used like light that I can really think of was like Luigi's Mansion, to make them tangible and that kind of thing. And I thought they did a great job here. It made it more interesting. It was more than just a shooter, a very basic shooter. It kind of had a layer of concept to it, which just adds complexity. And complexity always makes things, well, usually makes things look better. At least not so simplistic. Which it's got its pros and cons. But yeah, I've played plenty of horror games, but I don't think I've ever played a thriller per se. Even the closest game I can compare to this, Deadly Premonition, was more of a horror game. It was scary. It was supernatural. But this was kind of like it was supernatural, but in a way that could be grasped. And this was like it was a thriller. It was great. Can you tell that I like this game? Kind of gushing at this point. That's kind of what I do in the end. Kind of some of my thoughts. And honestly, I really hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did, because I really enjoyed this. And the ending there too was kind of I'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, the way the episodes were layered and the way the music was done was also I thought it was very good for like I said, this game could kind of be like a story. It was written like a book kind of thing. And obviously most good story-driven games can be turned into a movie very easily, or like a show kind of thing. But hey, I thought they did a great job myself. At no time was I really too lost, was I really too frustrated. I mean, I didn't play on the hardest difficulty or anything, but I mean, this was great. I think everything went pretty smoothly and went the way they intended it to go, in the way that the game should pretty much play, more or less. I thought it had the story as a whole, like just reflecting on the game, had a very strong beginning. Some of the predictions I made, came true, some of them didn't. And that's half the fun with doing a game blind like this. And as the story progressed, at first I thought it might be a kind of repetitive game, like, oh man, we're just going to keep playing the same spot, the same copy and pasted woods, and no, it actually got interesting. It had some really awesome parts, like the farm sequence, and even getting to the final boss was really awesome. The journey to there, the sheriff teaming up with us, Barry, of course, the dialogue, everything was just done so well. And then the ending, I think the ending was probably my least favorite part. I was hoping for something a little more climactic, but I kind of like the way it ended, because that's kind of the way a horror story ends. You know what I mean? That's what they were driving. Like they were saying, it's not always certain that the hero will live. Actually, he must almost always die. So, even so, I really, really enjoyed this. Obviously, at this point, there are more Alan Wake add-ons and campaigns, and will I be doing those? There's that chance out there. There is always, other October horror fests, and a very good chance that I may be continuing this. So this might not be the last time we see Alan Wake. But I think this is just wrapping up here, so anything's off. I really, really had a good time playing this game. I obsessively enjoyed it. I'm probably going to play it again before too long on my own. And yeah, that'll pretty much do it for me. I really hope you guys enjoyed it just as much as I did. Hope you guys had a good time with the story and the gameplay, and hopefully I did it justice. I feel like I had a good run on this, and I enjoyed it myself, so that's my whole goal here. I met my quota. I'm very happy. So I'd like to thank you guys one last time for watching, and until next time, I'll catch you guys later.